Where we have a lot of things to talk about actually this morning, especially on insecurity. And of course, heading straight to the Nigerian Tribune, that's also one story on the front page of the papers this morning. That's a story on page 13. It's saying 43 feared killed, several abducted as terrorists lay siege to 5 Niger communities. And the writer says, Tinubu condemns killing, mass abduction, orders immediate rescue, says terror won't call Nigeria. And, you know, when we keep talking about it, I mean, for a while we thought, it seems like the issue of insecurity was a little reduced in Nigeria. It's
a little reduced, I think, but then there are still...
Also, what happened in Plateau 2 weeks ago, I mean, it's just really unfortunate where a lot of killings will have to be going on in the country, and international communities would also be lending their voice to incidents like this. We of course do not want to keep talking about issues, especially where lives are being involved, and we hope the federal government will do a lot. And we also have people in captivity who have still not been freed, but we hope in days to come there will definitely, or we are hoping, it's a hopeful wish and of course a prayer, that solutions would be found to the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Moving on to stories on page 23, Ibadan Ijebu road reconstruction flag off. APM slams federal government for not inviting Makinde. Claims Tinubu scared of Oyo governor's popularity performance. And on page 22, 2027, Atiku to boycott debates unless Tinubu joins. That's coming from ADC, challenges presidency to debate on petrol subsidy removal. Oh, of course, there's been a lot of back and forth with the president and Atiku. Atiku is saying he's going to remove the fuel subsidy if, you know, Nigerians vote him back. Yeah, because saying hardship in the land is too much, and the Tinubu administration is not really considering how the subsidy was removed, and it's just been a lot of back and forth. Oh, let's see. Hopefully there will be a debate.
It will just be gimmicks to just get in power, you know.
And of course, we are also hoping, you know, when politicians make, and this is not even on the fuel subsidy statement alone, but when politicians make statements like this, promises, especially during election period, when elections are getting closer. Now, how do you want to convince Nigerians that you're not making these statements because it's just election period? How do you want to convince Nigerians that you will make work on everything you're saying, the promises you've made? How it's just a lot, especially with the history of our political leaders in Nigeria. But let's see how it unfolds moving on from here. No more stories on page 7. Nigeria ranks 56th among world's poorest countries by GDP. Global Finance magazine. 56 among world's poorest countries.
That's a sad one.
Yeah, that story is on page 7. Still on the same page, U.S. hails Dangote refinery as Nigeria's petroleum exports surged 7 times. Nigeria's petrol consumption declined by 25% to 35.7 MPD in July 2026, and that's coming from NMDPRA. Federal government begins repairs as minister visits Oyaikiti, Ilupeju Kaba Road, Benin Asaba Expressway, motorists resort to forest route. Umahi blames concessionaire, and that's on page 5. To be defeated, drug barons must lose their rewards, Mara declares at Cambridge. And that's on page 3. Still on the same page, NFIU received over 28 million reports on transactions involving politically exposed persons in 2025. And lastly, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, is a story on page 5. Dirty air may trigger rheumatoid arthritis flare-ups. And that's according to a study. And that's all we have on the front page of Nigerian Tribune. More stories on the inside pages of the paper this morning. Tinubu reaffirms commitment to reforms, strengthening of federal civil service. Nigeria needs leaders with integrity to make progress, and that's coming from Jonathan Ribadu, Zulum Diri, others, Elogize, Wilson Jack at book launch. To be defeated, drug barons must lose their wealth, Mara declares at Cambridge. Minister visits deplorable Oye Ekiti Lupeju Kaba Road as federal government begins remedial work. And that's all we have on page 5. And more stories on page 10. 302.3 billion naira National Cancer Institute to cut medical tourism. And that's coming from NICRAT's Director General. UNICEF warns one polio case could trigger global outbreak. I will not cede any part of Benue to headers, and that's coming from Governor Alia. Well, we'll be right back after this commercial break to continue with the newspaper review. Stay with us.
This award goes to the most punctual student of the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Company is telling me that she makes her daughter skip breakfast just to be here. You people could have just asked. I would have been happy to tell you my secret.
Enjoy instant goodness with John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate. The quickest start to your morning.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
All right, welcome back. It's still the newspaper review on AM120 this morning, and still in the Nigerian Tribune, more stories on page 11. Why Atiku's subsidy arithmetic cannot survive contact with oil market, and that's on page 11. More stories. 43 Fiat killed as terrorists led siege to 5 Niger communities. Police bust baby factory in Ogun, rescue 2 pregnant women, 4 children. 2 charged in UK over cocaine trafficking as Nigeria seizes 184.5 kilogram linked to probe. Police named 2 victims of Ikire shooting, launch manhunt for attackers. All stories on page 13. And on the back page, on page 28, Kano Assembly urges urgent action as diphtheria outbreak claims over 50 children in Rano. Okeogun Elders Council reaffirms commitment to development, security, and education. Oyetola calls for tough security response to post-election violence. Futa Teaching Hospital urges dialogue over industrial disputes. And on the back page where we have some sports stories, Wrexham joint race for Aziz. Chukwueze receives plaudits after new Milan role. Ajayi nominated for EPL award. And lastly, we have under 20 Women's World Cup. Falconets will fight for trophy. And that's coming from Aduko. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Victor, over to you.
Well, I've got the Vanguard newspaper right here with me, and there are interesting stories right here on the front page, starting with this one on page 5. Highways of Oro. Motorists will spend 4 days on Benin-Asaba Road. A recount order on the federal government to review concessioned roads apologizes to Nigerians. The pictures of what we have right here, and it's just very interesting. 2027 presidency, ACF, PANDEF, MBF demands scrutiny of candidates' history. That's a story you find on page 26. And the writer says background checks raise moral issues, but law remains supreme, says Afenifere. Now we move on to what we have, on page 19. Crude imports by domestic refineries jump 151.5% in July. That's coming from the NMDPRA. Now to what we have on page 7. Dollar Parton, U.S. country music legend, dies at 80. And yes, it's a sad one, losing such a great voice. On page 12, 2027, our coalition failed to pick a single presidential candidate. That's coming from Amechi. Now to page 13. Idil Maulid, Tinubu governors can PDP, others preach peace and unity. On that same page, drug war, Marwa seeks global action to seize traffickers' wealth. And on page 9, U.S. plans revocation of 200,000 visas of asylum seekers. On page 3, Nigeria fights to save 1.4 trillion naira agro exports. Exporters are saying we are 80% ready. Federal government struggles with its role. Let's flip on to what we have on the inside page, starting with page 2, where we have on tech, NICOM SAT 2A, 2B, $2 billion satellites, $2 billion satellites may trigger broadcast broadband boom in 2028. There's also food price watch on page 3, and the CPP is saying why agro-processing is difficult in Nigeria. And politics on page 4, Yari's 2031 declaration, CSOs, lawyers, others reject APC's claim to perpetual power. And moving on to what we have on page 6, over 50 children feared dead as a Kano Assembly seeks urgent diphtheria response. Tinubu orders immediate rescue of over 500 worshippers kidnapped in Niger Mosque. Police arrest 2 suspects as a kidnapped victim escapes. Onitsha traders send SOS to Anambra new CP over alleged constant harassment and breaking of shops by some policemen. VDM to security agencies, you know who unknown gunmen are, and calls for proactive approach. All right, more stories right on page 9. APC denies withdrawing presidential campaign council list. 2027 outrage as Kuje council chair threatens non-APC residents. And some people saying it is a danger to society. 2027, Peter Obi media dares Tinubu to engage Nigerians directly. And on page 9, cancer cases set to rise 67% by 2050. That's coming from the Global Can. 20.6 million cases, 9.8 million deaths recorded worldwide in 2024. Flipping on to what we have on page 13, national security, women must be part of solution and not a victim, says the defense minister. On fake agencies, CISLAC demands probe of enablers and institutions. And of course, moving on to what we have right here on business economy on page 20, Nigeria, other African countries dominate world's 60 poorest. That's coming from Global Finance. With interesting stories. Immigration moves to digitalize border management to enhance security. And on page 21, talking about Good Health Weekly, 10 years of pain, 17 fibroids, survival tells story as there's awareness being raised right there about all of that. Well, flipping on to what we have on page 26, motorists will spend 4 days on Benin Asaba Road, continues from page 5 actually. And on Vanguard Sports this morning on page 29, under 23 AFCON qualifiers, Nigeria to battle Mauritania or DR Congo is second round. NFF fact-finding job, Amon submits report and resigns. He says, I didn't want to be influenced. Vondrosova appeals to CAS against 4-year ban. Osime, Governor Mba bag Nigerian Soccer Ambassador Awards. Eco 2026, Lagos promises best games ever as it hosts 15,000 athletes. Mourinho happy with Madrid's squad despite losing out on Rodri. Guild of Sports Editors President tells NFF boss to go. CAF Champions League, 14 clubs set to make their debut this season. And on the back page, you would find stories, more stories including that. And then you have a list of results from the La Liga games, the EFL Cup games, as well as the Champions League qualification. And there are also fixtures for today's matches, talking about the Conference League qualification, the Champions League qualification, and in La Liga, where Real Madrid will be playing against Real Sociedad at 8 p.m. later on tonight. Well, with that, it's a wrap on the newspaper review segment this morning. We'll go on for some weather reports, and then we'll be back with the interview segment later on.
This award goes to the most punctual student of the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Excuse me, ma. It's your 100%.
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair?
Since your landlord just increased rent, I saved for this one separately on money points.
You say you save on money points?
Yes.
This Madam Money Points here, the array of Yadrea there is target savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is fees savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact, son.
Jennifer, money point save as you transact. Money point fixed savings and money point target savings.
What's up? Why did I tell you don't contribute to it? Right today. Come on, oh, you go give your money to Hadaku to save. You see money point accounts there. You don't go open a savings account. Now Hadaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this my saloon. Oh, you bring out your phone and download the money point app now. Even you. What are you waiting for?
Download the Money Point banking app now and start saving with the bank you can trust.
Money Point, made for your progress. When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys.
Comau, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comau on malaria gone.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Like I said earlier, we will be talking security this morning. Borno abductions, 102 days, 78 pupils still missing. And the big question has been, where are they? The family members are calling for their release, for their rescue. No one knows where their whereabouts. The people of Askira Uba Awal Federal Constituency of Borno State have urged the federal and state government to intensify efforts to rescue the 78 persons abducted by suspected terrorists in the area. Addressing journalists at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja last Friday, the Secretary of Awal Askira Uba Elders Forum, Malag Gadzama, said the abductees had spent a total of 102 days in captivity. According to him, among the victims are 42 pupils and students from Musa Primary and Junior Secondary School who were abducted on May 15 in Askira Uba local government area. He recalled that the unfortunate incident occurred on the same day the pupils and teachers from Esienle and Yawota communities in Orire local government area in Oyo State were abducted. Mr. Gadzama said 36 of the students abducted from Government Day Secondary School, Lassa, on June 29 during National Examinations Council examination are also still missing. While commending the federal government for the release of the Oyo victims, he said the same strategy should be applied to the release of victims in Askira Uba Awal Federal Constituency. And according to him, protecting lives and property is the primary essence of government, maintaining that citizens' welfare is a right and not a privilege. To do justice to this conversation this morning, we have a war veteran in the studio, Alhaji Lasisi Adetunji Esquire. Good morning, Alhaji.
Good morning.
It's always good to have you talk about issues of insecurity like this. And the big question is, when references are being made, or when an abduction was, when it happened on the same day of the Orire, luckily, they have been rescued, but we still have these children in Borno State in captivity. What exactly is the problem? Is it that the strategy that was applied in Oyo State cannot be applied in Borno State?
No. You don't compare the two. That is why we say security is local. People will say you want to protect me, and I'm not ready for your protection. Where do I go? What I mean is that the way you are comparing us in the south with that of the north, you cannot. When did this thing start? You know, the time this thing has started, 2009. They are now used to it there, and some of them have made it to be a commercial deals in their midst. Unlike we here, it is not in our character to keep our people in the bush. But that is their own pattern of life, which they have accepted on their own, because they are people. Those who are doing this job, they are their people. They confirm it, times without number, that they are their brothers. So why are you now crying fouls when there is nothing to cry about? Because you are comparing the time, June, the time that they kidnapped the student of Oriri.
May 15.
May 15. For 56 days only. And that 56 days only in the south, yeah, especially in the west, you will know that each houses, nobody on the radio, television, newspaper, blog, everywhere, nobody kept quiet.
We kept talking about it.
Nobody at any time, all churches, mosques, they are busy. Prayer everywhere. Do you see that type of thing in the north?
But Alaji, are we going to say we are not seeing that in the north now? Because
if you are not seeing it,
no, I wouldn't really say we are not seeing it in the north, and here is the reason.
Okay.
Because firstly, yes, we might have said a lot of them shielded these terrorists from the onset. But talking about the noise, yes, the noise also in the north might not be as much as we had here in Oyo State. In fact, in the southwest. But that does not mean they are not speaking up. And also, if the government are aware of these developments, of these security breaches and lapses in Borno State, it has been going on for years. Let's refer back to the Chibok girls incident. It was still in this Borno State. Yes, 2014.
Yes.
It was still in this Borno State.
Yes.
Why is there an issue of security breach or security gap in the north?
I started by saying that security is local. That is acceptability that they have got in that place. The people in the bush are their men. The people outside in the town, they are their men. They are the ones giving them the logistics and all the coverage that made them to perform all what they are doing. So what do you think that will happen? The federal government provided the military, they provided the police, they provided all strategies, something that you need have been provided for them. What else?
Imagine, let's look at...
Ordinance is very exposed there.
Let's look at the different scope of things this morning as regarding that particular incident. The first thing I asked when I saw that incident again in June was what happened to the Safe Schools architecture? Because we know that the governor had already made some moves in place. And now there are questions over what he called the Safe Schools system that they were building. We lauded it, we said it was great, it was a good initiative, but then again, 2 different attacks within 2 months.
It's possible because how did they react to the first attack? You were here when a general was brought from the bush, harmed. The bandits were harmed, they brought the dead body outside, and they went back again to the bush, and you are looking at them. You say those people are not free. Some of them, I learned that some state government sponsors some of them to Mecca. On their return, I think they caught one of them. Can that one be practiced here? Can we tolerate that here? I say the connivance here is so open that everybody agreed that it's part and parcel of them.
But that's the way I look at it. It's not a generality of the people.
It cannot be generality.
Because we find that some people are still wailing about this incident.
Mama.
They're still very sad. They're calling out about this. In recent days, we have seen some of them dressing in different ways, going around to try and sensitize the people. So what do we do with the few people that are in there making these moves, rather, to sensitize people?
Subhanallah. The very few people you are talking about, if you are talking that, how does God relate with us? We, those people who are sinners, and those people who are cleaners. That is, the same rain will fall on all of us. If you say that you will keep quiet when something is going on by the right, and you are not looking that way, When that problem comes, it will come on all of us. And those are people you say they are willing. That is how it is.
Now, for people who keep quiet, who are harboring these criminals, especially looking at the north, and I know this has been said a long time.
Very, very.
Living amongst them, shielding them, protecting them. Now, let's look at how the incident of Orire, the rescue incident happened. I remember, the armed forces came out during their statement. They said they had to trace some of their family members.
Yes.
I think to about almost 10 states in Nigeria. And they used them as baits and told them, if you do not rescue them,
we are killing you.
Then your family members would also be, their lives would be at stake. Now, if we have residents who are also doing this, shielding these terrorists, shouldn't over time, over 20 years now, we are still having the same issue. Are there now ways federal government and state government in collaboration can come together to see how they can also use these strategies or similar strategies to make sure that residents are not shielding these terrorists?
You cannot do that when you leave some people untouched. It's not possible. There are some people who are providing all the logistics they are using, and they are settled in the bush, in the camp they are. They know where they are, unlike ours. You don't compare with that of South. Especially, and those people that they say they radicalized, the radicalized people, they are missed again. Those are people who are giving them soft targets. And that is why we lost some generals. It's annoying. When they begin to catch a general in the battlefield, it's not a good thing to hear about. And it's because of the system in that particular area where they are operating. I think they are doing best. Their best they can do. They are doing. General Absalam is there, who is their commander. The other time when you say these people came to their governor, Professor Zulu, they went to him, and you heard what he said. The federal government is doing their best. You heard him when he said it.
But is this the best we can get? Is this the best we can get from our government?
Subhanallah, it's one of the best we can get from them.
Why is that so?
If you want them to perform more than their capacity.
Are you saying our government do not have better capacity than what we are currently experiencing?
The capacity we are exhibiting is one of the best. It depends on you that we are going to protect, is what I'm saying. If we are not ready to be protected, there's nothing I can do.
But Alaji, because in July, there was actually a video footage that was sent to government officials to show that there was proof of life for these individuals. Are we saying that there's no way we can trace where these people are?
They know their, they know their locations. You say they don't know where they are? Even if they don't know where they are, I said these people came, they brought dead body of a general, and they went back. And you say you don't know their location. If they don't know, what about what happened in Dapchi in the other time? When they came with 3 vehicles to drop the children. After that, they went back to the bush. Didn't you hear it or you saw it on the television? They know where they are. They say they are their brothers.
Alaji, it makes me curious now. What is intriguing enough to make it look like at some point we have some people rescued. At some point we see them returning some victims who are kidnapped. But then there are some sections who are never returned, where we have not seen up until now. What exactly is happening in India?
That is what the people they are interested in. That is why they kept them. Because
interested in?
Yes. Because they know they are getting something. They are getting their ransom from that area. You know, you don't kidnap anybody that will not give you any good resources.
But they kidnap a lot of people. Wide varieties. They kidnap with wide varieties.
They will sample them. If they kidnap everybody, they will know the people they want. They know those who will not give them. There are some people who have surrendered their life to them now. Don't you know? There are some people who are paying them their tax. You had it in the Northwest. When they said before they go to their family, they have to pay so much. They were paying it. They were giving them receipt.
Alaji, when you mentioned that, now I want to go back to the issue of capacity of the federal government. You mentioned that they are giving us their best. And they are working based on the capacity they have. Now, when we say, and you said they are giving us their best because that's what the people have been able, or the people want. Now, when a section of Nigerians are shouting, are clamoring for a better Nigeria, but another part, another region is maybe drawing back the hands of the efforts. Now, don't you think at that point the federal government have the right of enforcement?
Enforcement on what?
Enforcement to make sure that we do not spoil the name Nigeria because of insecurity. Now, if some people are determined to shield terrorists, are determined to work with terrorists, there are ways the federal government can go about this in collaboration with state government of those people, the residents of these terrorists. Is that not where we can enforce, as security operatives, enforce a particular policy, law? Before you answer that question, Alhaji, we have a commercial break and we'll come back to that.
Super Malt Multivitamin Junior. Super Malt Multivitamin Junior. Being mommy simplified.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Still on the issue of Borno abductions and, of course, insecurity in Nigeria. Before we went on that break, we're talking about how the federal government, is there no way, strategies of enforcement to, is either you lay your life down or you make sure that you're not shielding these terrorists. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that's the best way, the federal government, it's just an example. But when we start having strict enforcement like these, don't you think Nigerians would also come back to their senses?
We have strict way of handling it. There are people who are ready to do the job. The federal government, when I told you that the federal government is doing their best, remember there is fundamental human rights of individual, and then we cannot get out of this practice without doing the standard practice, even if you are in the war. You don't just begin to. You remember all what happened when there was airstrike in the north, when they began to complain that they are killing their men. You remember the one at the boundary of Yobe and Borno, the market that they have deserted, that their government said they should not go again. When they raided them, you know what came out of it? They say they killed their people. How do we help such people more than that? If you say that I'm doing much, I'm doing excessive of what I'm supposed not to do, the better for me is to tread your line. What I'm saying is that the supplies, the military, police, DSS, anything you can think of that is under security, they've been provided. I think kind of idea, they are doing their best on a daily basis, but the way they are handling them, that is what I say you should understand what I'm saying. The way they are handling them is not the way we handle them here. It's not. We don't tolerate all that nonsense here, but they tolerated it there. That is why the thing goes long like that and begin to find their level. I'm still unhappy with the way that they have been handling it, especially the way they allowed them to kill our men. You see, the way we lost our lives, I do not like it, and I will not. I will not. That is the area that I'm after. That it is those people they say they pardon, the repentant Boko Haram, what they call them, that are giving them the location, the soft target, that those people are getting them very cheap. Otherwise, when you say somebody is captured by, when you say somebody is being captured, it's not easy. It's not easy. It means that there is loophole. There are mole inside the holes that leak out the secret of that operation. So that is why I'm saying it is not the federal government that say that they are not doing well about it. All what they have provided, Zulu, the governor of Borno State, provided good schools. He provided everything that they needed. But do they accept it as their own way of life? That is why I say at the end of the day, I think what we are talking to be is that I think the structure will be the best.
Restructuring in what aspect?
The structure of the country as a whole.
What do you mean restructuring of the country? What do you expect to see when such restructuring is being done?
At a level where you begin to, they will manage themselves in the way they want it. That is why you say they will tarnish our image. That's what we are referring to. That they will tarnish the image of the country abroad or anywhere. That because we allow some people to be wailing like that. It's not so. That is why I say, if you begin to manage the manageables, it will be easier for everybody.
Alhaji, now earlier on you made some insinuations. The repentant terrorists, all of that. But then there have been some people who have said there are different narratives. There are some government, officials who are involved in the back with what those people are doing. There are some people financing them. There are people sponsoring them.
People have been saying this for long now.
So
remember how the petition they wrote against our Minister of State for Defense? Is he not on the front line again?
But then there was a time that we also had...
I don't know what happened there.
So if you said the government is not able to do some things, if you said the government are doing enough, why then are people still insinuating and telling us, insisting that there are people in the government, in the corridors of power, who know those people and should be able to be eliminated?
It may be the government has not seen reason to do that. We have been talking it. People wrote petition, but maybe when, we are not there to investigate, to know what is the right thing there that is happening.
Are they truly investigating these issues?
How do I know? I won't say yes or no, because I know that once they don't answer to that petition or they have not treated it, we are going to, they are still investigating. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, Alhaji, on the 21st of August, this month, some days away, we had families and the community members protesting in Uba, demanding the release of their children after almost 100 days in captivity. We've seen the powerful messages, but then there's also that little thing coming in. They are saying their children, are more than the figures that were released. The discrepancy is right there. What exactly is happening in that?
No, are you saying
in the Musa community especially?
Masa.
Yeah, in the Musa community. One of the community leaders said their children were more than the numbers that they counted for them. The children missing.
Okay, that...
They are underreported.
It was underreported. The children who are missing, the number is much more than what they officially have told the press, the media.
No, the one that officially told the press, have they got them back too? Have they got that number back? I mean, the one you say that the official made the announcement, the small one, have they got them back? That they say they are remaining in the bush? Is that what the parents are saying? That our people are still remaining in the bush?
And they are more than that. Because we saw, like I mentioned earlier on, there was a video sent to show that there was a proof of life. So if those counted in that official video, if those mentioned in our official video are that number, where are the rest who the community leader is saying have not been counted amongst them?
The community are complaining that the people that the officials are mentioning are not up to...
They are more than that number. And then in the video it shows that it's just the official number that they were given.
This keeping this group that they capture or what they apprehend, they don't keep them in one place. Maybe that's the one they've shown the official people. That is the one they declare. They may take them to other camp. If they say they capture somebody, they kidnap somebody from Benin KB, maybe they are taking them to Benin Zulu, or they are taking them to another place, an area or something like that, or Karanamoda. So until they get those people there, then they will show them out that these are the people that they capture.
All right.
Alhaji, I was going to talk about the ripple effect of this, because on the psychology of these children, not just the families, but the children themselves. So if I'm a child who is growing up in Borno State, I have to be afraid that, like several others before me, over a decade ago, I could be kidnapped and I might not be seen. The ripple effects of the fears about education is also there. So how do we keep them safe? How do we actually work to rehabilitate those who we have seen returned and those who are around them? Because it's something for me to see my classmates being kidnapped after I escaped and thinking about all of this over the years.
I think the government is doing, the other time then when they returned some of them, I think they sent them to other schools. Not around that area. Yeah. They sent to other schools to go and complete their education. And when they come back, their psychological effect will be something they have taken care of. I think that's what they did. And the government did that. They didn't allow them to remain in that location. What about that? Is that not enough?
All right, let's look at security agencies now, and of course the responsibilities that should be placed on them. What is expected of them to do when issues of insecurity like these are being reported, we understand that the president is the chief commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Yes.
But what's supposed to be now? Just digressing a little, in the medical field,
okay,
I know that the primary responsibility of a doctor is to treat a patient, is to save a life.
To save life, yeah.
Now, the first thing you do, especially in a case of emergency, is make sure you're saving that life first before any other thing comes first. Now, taking it back to the issue of security agencies, what's supposed to be the first call of our security agencies, even before any instruction is being given by the commander-in-chief?
Is to save the life, as you have rightly said. If you are in a location that something happened, you go into action and then you save the life of the
people. But we are seeing over time that instructions are being waited for. And you would agree with me that when instructions are being waited for like this, it takes time.
It takes time.
Now, imagine you're waiting for an instruction an hour after the abduction, 3 hours, 5 hours. Now, the space of 8 hours, you know how many miles would have been covered by these terrorists with these victims? What should the security agencies do?
The standard of operation requires you to act within the law.
Is that what we are seeing?
Yes, that is what it is. You must act within the law of your country, within the law of your commander-in-chief. Let me give you an example. If you see an attack, you look at a small thing, and you as a commander at that particular place, you decided to call your troops out, and you go in. If the thing boomerang, and then they capture all of you, whose fault is that? Is it not your fault that you don't notify your headquarters that you are facing something, and they prepare their reinforcement down for you? You don't just say that because I'm here now, I'm carrying gun, and I call my troops, yeah, let's go. You don't go like that. It's very risky. You must go as per the instruction of the operation.
But when instructions take time, and we also understand that the lives of victims are at stake, what could also be done?
No, you will do minimal.
They still have to wait. What's the minimal that is expected?
The minimal you do is to take care of the area. You take care of the suburb, that you don't allow them to penetrate within that period. But you are not going to attack. You should not go into attack. Because if you go into attack, you don't know what is there for you. That is the problem. You people should get it right. The only thing you can do is to protect those areas they have not perpetrated in. But if you say you want to take it on your own, and then you want to go in without notifying your commanders at the area, you are in for it. If there is anything that boomerang.
Okay, Alhaji, now let's look at the intervention of the international communities. UNICEF have waded in and have spoken a lot about this. What does this say to us as Nigerians with the coming in of the likes of UNICEF to actually pouring on this conversation about the kids who have been kidnapped for over 100 days?
No, it's normal because we belong to UN. We belong to the association. So they should be part and parcel. We are all contributing to it also. They need to contribute. I think they are doing their own thing that they should do for a country that's a member of UN. That's why they interfere, not for anything. It's not an embarrassment. It's not the first time.
All right. So now let's look at the military side of it all, intelligence now. What does this speak about to our intelligence architecture, how we have set up ourselves, in the country, talking about our security systems, the chain of command, how everybody works things to protect and safeguard in a proactive manner?
The chain of command is being operated from below to the top. That's the way they operate it. Good. The people where we had the successful operation in the south, the one you are talking about, that you are comparing with that, why didn't you use that method? Is not. That is why I said security is local. It depends on the ground of where you want to operate. If that is the one they will use it. If it's not the type they will use, They can't use that because the people in the bush themselves, they have their father, their children, and all their wives with them, and they settle down there. You don't compare with these people who escape from that place to our own territory. They escape here, and this is not their own terrain too. They don't know all the terrain here too. So that is why it's different from the one you are talking about.
Looking at what we have in front of the dailies this morning, it says 43 killed, several abducted as terrorists lay siege to 5 communities in Niger State. Now, the issue of insecurity, in fact, we are tired of talking about it. Because it feels like, as much as we feel like there's a reduction, then we hear of a major attack. We saw what happened in Plateau State 2 weeks ago also. And at what point, or is it that the federal government is not taking enough, or putting plans in place, enough plans in place? What exactly is the problem? Where is the gap?
The word federal government, don't let us, security is not meant for federal government only. It's for you. It's for me. You
know why I mentioned the federal government? Because we say the president is the commander-in-chief. Now, as much as we have state governments, as much as we have local governments, the federal government will still be the one to give the directive to these security personnel. Now, let's look at Amotekun, for instance. Amotekun have not been licensed to carry gun.
Good.
If we also talk about our local vigilantes, they do not have the license to carry gun. Now, when we have issues like these, and they have to face them head-on.
Yes.
How do they attack terrorists who have sophisticated weapons?
Hold it. You are calling the president the commander-in-chief. Is the governor not the chief security officer of the state?
Does he have the control? Does he have the right? Oh, no, not even the right. Can he actually place a call and say something is happening in this local government? Can you send your men, reinforce your men to this local government to repel the attack?
Why can't you do that?
No, we've seen that happen several times. Even state governors have come out over time to say that they do not have control. They still have to wait for instructions from the federal level.
But they will report of such incident. They will report such incident.
And that is the lapses, that is the gap I'm talking about. In a situation where the state governors have to report to federal government, they have to wait for instructions.
This is the structure. This is constitutional matters. This is the structure. This is constitutional matters. You cannot change it overnight if they don't change it in the constitution. That's how our country is slated. If they want it to be changed to another thing, you know, I mentioned restructuring. Those are the part of things I'm talking about. But if you say that one is not possible, then constitutional matters is affected because they put everything on the commander-in-chief. How can only one commander is the one who shouted this morning that they should send their troops to Niger State? I heard him when he said that they should go and rescue those people in the Niger State. The Baron says he's still there. He's the only one person who will talk of that of Kwara. You see? That is why I say the thing has been, that's the way it is as at now. And except you want any change, it's constitutional.
Is that the way it's supposed to be?
That's where it is now.
Now, when you mention restructuring, where should the restructuring start from?
It should start from, let them disseminate everything from up to down. Reduce the body on the federal government to state and to local government, where the people are residing. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Now, if you're going to restructure, it also means that we have to pull all regions of the country together, understand everybody's weaknesses, work on everybody's strengths, so that we can all lift off at the right rate. So what are we going to be doing about areas where we feel like they are not accepting what should be the normal thing across board?
No, you thought it to be normal in your own side. It may not be normal in the outside. That's what I'm telling.
That's what I'm saying.
That is fine. You know that is what they want. Anything you want in your area is what we do for you.
We cannot keep allowing some of those things to happen. So if we
allow it to happen, that is how the setup is. Human being, you cannot protect me when I say I'm not ready for your protection.
So how to educate them about protection?
Because people let them come out to join the people who want protection.
But we're seeing a lot of protests happening, even in the north. A lot of people are already coming out to talk about protests. We are seeing videos online. How should the federal government react to this?
they will continue to be protecting them the way they will want. They will have the capacity to do.
Away from just continuing to protect them the way they think they should be protected, how do we educate them? How do we reorientate them?
Fundamental things have happened. The level of your education on this side is not the same.
So do you mean we start from the education level at grassroots? Do you think that we can do, what are the steps you think that we should actually take to make them see things as it should be seen?
It has gone more than that, as far as I'm concerned. And bank on restructuring. If there is restructuring at every level, they will do what they want their own people to face. They will take care of their people the way they like it. Because the way we have gone now is two parallel lines that cannot meet. I'm telling you.
So you're saying we're like more of a confederation than a nation?
Then, that's how it is. I don't
so moving forward, I mean, we are seeing this much incidents, and abduction in Borno State, abduction in Niger State. We are also, other communities also. And Plateau is also there.
So when are we
where does this leave the people? Where does this leave Nigerians in terms of protection? Because if we are talking about, or if we keep talking about reliance on the federal government, reliance on state government, but it feels like the protection the people are really wanting or clamoring, they are not getting it. What should they do?
They should allow the government to direct well, and then they should allow them to, they should follow whatever the government said it should be. They should cooperate with them. If you don't cooperate with the person who say he wants to protect you, there's nothing that person will do. That's my area. That's what emphasis I'm leaving. They should cooperate with the federal government by not aiding, abetting those people that are connivance. A lot of them are involved in it. They hit on it, they make it to be a trade. So it's now a system that they live with there. How do you say that somebody that are residing somewhere, it's like even they are dividing their own budget into two. Send one to the bush, use the rest for the people in the town. That's the way I look at it. Otherwise, I don't know why they allow them to go along with them like that. Because they have allowed their assistance, they allow their assistance, and they enjoy it. That's the way I look at it.
All right, let's look at the local government level now, because they are still the closest to the people.
They are the one.
And when we look at the issue of insecurity, it feels like we are leaving them behind, and of course attacking the state government and the federal government. Now, how should the people hold their local government leaders accountable or responsible for their security situations?
You know, when I tell you that constitutionally the thing has already spoiled, in those days, the grassroots people, the local government are the one in charge of security. Most. Because there are people who live with the people. The Obas, the Baales, the Mangajis, they are the one in the villages who will see their people, who know the strangers, who know their territory.
But we are not seeing that happen again.
You cannot have it because of the way the constitution made it that a number will be under a local government chairman. How do you see that? Somebody who has been controlling the whole empire, then you may need to be under a local government chairman.
But that does not stop them from performing their responsibility.
It stops them because you don't do the thing that you are not supposed to do. They will say government's responsibility is what you are doing. They say that's the government responsibility, it's not your duty. All these things, like Bekoyas, the Olodes, and all these things you are talking about, who is feeding them? Who is giving them anything?
But you would also agree with me that at this point, especially where we have, where we keep talking about issue of insecurity and lives are being lost, there is really nothing on, there should be really no talk about this is the responsibility of the federal government or not, especially where it's becoming a recurring issue.
If it becomes a recurring issue and you are not allowed to do it, they will arrest such a person, they will arrest such a group, and they bang them up.
All right, thank you very much.
That's the constitution.
All right, thank you very much, Alaji. Well, indeed, Alaji Lasisi Adetunji Esquire, is a war veteran, and he has been speaking to us about the Borno abductions. We're counting down 102 days, 78 pupils are still missing. And yes, indeed, he has shared his wealth of experience and told us, from his own point of view, what he sees about the entire situation. We thank you on behalf of the entire production crew for AM120. All right, we'll go on this break, and when we're done, our second guest will be on seat with us. Thank you very much for joining us, sticking around with us. For those who are just joining us, we have been having conversations about the Borno abductions. Yes, we know it's 102 days and 78 pupils are still missing. And yes, it's been quite something looking at how 42 children were taken from the Musa area in Askira Uba local government area in May, and then another 36 were taken from the government secondary school in Nasa on June 29, while some of them were sitting for their NECO examinations. And more than 3 months later, their families are still waiting for that phone call from them, waiting for proper intelligence, waiting for proof that their children are alive, waiting for the government to bring them home. And yes, indeed, we're having that conversation with our second guest this morning, who is a public affairs analyst. He is Mr. Ademola Adegbola. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. I'm happy to meet you.
Well, looking at what has happened so far, it's been long, and yet nothing concrete has been heard. Why is this so?
Well, there are so many factors responsible. Why is this Bastardly Act taking place? What's the purpose? They say they are Boko Haram. They hate education. But doesn't mean it's not limited to education alone now. It's getting to be religious. It's getting to be social. How can we uproot it? It's only government that needs to invest more on security. And are we also prepared, ready to cooperate with government to give, to talk what you see, or to say what you see? Do we even trust the government? Do we trust ourselves? So the risks are so high that people are trying to hide their heads. But down south, we have means of getting in touch secretly, confidently thinking the information will not be revealed. But I think up north, mostly in the northeast, particularly in Maiduguri, I know them to be very decent, peace-loving, social, and not too erratic Muslims. So I'm surprised, I'm even shocked that this type of thing is happening in the Northeast. It's not a volatile area, and I've never known them to be volatile. If the security agents are committed, if we Nigerians are also committed, there are variants. The attitude of a Southerner may be different from the attitude of an average Northerner or a Northeast man or South-South. But people should be able, the security should be able to study these things, the advantages and disadvantages of our attitudes, and exploit it to prevent violence and kidnapping, banditry. There are so many factors. And who are the people responsible? That's the question. They are not ghosts. From where do they come? How do they get to settle there? How do they feed? Because I cannot imagine somebody staying off the main city for 100 days and still feeding. It's unbelievable. It's marvelous in my own sight. Something must be responsible. And up north, it's easier to effect security changes or to prevent crime than in the south because of the ecological factors. Northeast, particularly Maiduguri, the vegetation is Sahara, and it's easier to watch for surveillance from the aircrafts. So why is this operation so slow? Nothing, I think, is happening. That's my belief.
Okay, you think nothing is happening, but you've mentioned a lot of factors in your breakdown. You said there's been the regional disparity, ecological factors that should actually aid the security in achieving their purpose, but it's not happening. But there's this part that you mentioned, the government distrust. Now, how can the people trust the government with what they have had over time? Promises not being fulfilled. The movements being made, increasing the budget allocation for security, but they have barely seen the effects right there. So how can the people trust the government to actually come to their rescue and do the right things?
Well, I believe we are always full of excuses, and there's no perfect system. With security, it's an institution that not an average man can break through. And your comments, your opinion may not have any serious effect on their job. We cannot teach them how to do their job. They know how best to do their job.
But are they doing the job as well or as much as they should do the job?
I think yes, because except you are on the battlefield, you don't know who is a villain. The basic security lapses starts from the local from the main road. We see what is happening on the main road. A man not worth more than 200 naira. Can you go and inform him about somebody who has stolen 200 million? They go for bargaining, and our government is also doing it. When they take suspects to court, he must have stolen 10 million, then they bargain that he should refund the 6 million and go away with 4. Maybe they too will take 2. It will take 2. So it's all business. If we are committed and we are serious, and it starts from the grassroots, it's almost everywhere now. The way our attitude to life, the way we behave on the streets, even our homes, and you see people, even young ones, their classroom and their library is on the streets where they operate their telephone, and they are not concentrating. Even you see people driving and they are asking for. So basically, we find lawlessness very, very accessible. We do it at variance, at our will. We have to be disciplined. We are not. And there's no way. In developed country, we have all these gadgets, CCTV camera, and some other means of information. Even local people, even old men, telling the security men suspicion around their area.
All right.
But we want to have that.
The discipline you mentioned, I just want us to talk about it. Who enforces this discipline? But before you answer that question, we have a commercial break. And when we return, we'll continue on that note. Please stay with us.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Before we went on that break, sir, we're talking about, you mentioned discipline. Yes. Nigerians are not disciplined, and that's also one of the reasons why we are seeing this high level of insecurity in Nigeria. Now, what enforces this discipline, and what are those discipline, that act, what are those things we are meant to see from Nigerians that we are not seeing?
Well, my people say charity begins at home. You cannot give what you don't have. People are not patient to be disciplined now, even at home. They think they know. We have them all around us. They don't want to take correction. That is, they are Gen Z or something, I don't know what. And it has been easier the old way. And discipline has been the bedrock of the society. Starting from home, on the streets, in our places of worship, and everywhere. Teachers are just complementary. People expect discipline to be enforced or to be taught in the school. It's complementary. We are making a lot of, there are so many other things that are responsible. Because a father that works in the bank and the mother that works with a corporate international organization has to leave and to resume at a particular time. They don't have time to train their children. And no teacher can do that. You cannot expect a boy of 12 using IP phone or something, this expensive, sophisticated phone that the teacher cannot afford. So discipline is being relegated to the background. Our children are not disciplined, and parents are responsible. No government can enforce discipline. It's a reflection of what you have learned at home. And except we are committed to letting our children know that be obedient, be truthful, be sincere, be punctual, be respectful. So if all those factors are not there, there's no point. You are going to school to go and learn how to do yahoo, or to go and learn how to operate computer. No, you should be able to have self-discipline. Coming to work at the regular time is part of discipline. Are we so disciplined as if there is an officer that's too strict on attendance, he will be given a bad name? All these things we know, and what is responsible. There are too many mushroom schools, even universities in the country. A higher grade secondary school that has now become a university. We know the standard of University of Ibadan, and whether we like it or not, it's a standard in this country. You cannot push it aside. Is all our universities better than the old 1948 University of Ibadan? I would say no. So, and if you get into the environment, you see discipline. You cannot cross the lawn, you cannot shout, you cannot hoot with your car. It's like a graveyard, silent academic environment. We are not disciplined, and there's no point running away from it. Our religious organizations, the churches, the mosques, whatever, cannot effect it. They can only threaten that only God, if you disobey the rules of God, God will punish. But what if you disobey the rule of man? You can always buy your way if you are rich. And it seems as if the laws are for the poor.
All right, back to the issue of insecurity now. We're talking about, earlier you mentioned that are the people ready to cooperate with the federal government or with any level of government at all? Are we not seeing a level of cooperation between the people, especially where now it's not even an issue of a region now? Even in the southeast, we've been hearing of insecurity, issues of abduction, killings and the likes. Now, are you saying the people are not ready to work with the government?
Well, who are the people? We are the people. And I've never seen where individuals carry gun, leather weapons, so carelessly and ambiguously in the society, and they go unchallenged. Even machetes. The other time we saw, there was this Egungun festival. We see people carrying machetes. To do what? What's the purpose? And we have security men all around. Not a single man was arrested. People think I'm not concerned. And until they are concerned, because if their relative becomes a victim, then they'll start shouting. We thank God we have all these people organizations, the majority down south, and particularly in Ibadan. There are so many things you cannot hide. And we have an old institution, this television station, that has almost submerged every other television station. So people with camera, they can reveal, they can show you where you are and what you are doing, and you cannot deny it. So that's the issue of discipline. What else do we do? There are too many young boys not willing to work. You cannot enforce discipline on a hungry man. It's hard to make trouble. So all these things, they are home-based problem and affects discipline. Our primary schools, you see, even when you ask about what do you want to become in the future, it's West that it comes. I want to be a bank manager. I want to be a trade unionist. I mean, road transport chairman. What do you want to? I want to be a police officer. Why? Because so you can stay on the road with our gun and be collecting money. So money is the basis, and I think my Bible tells me is the root of all evil. What are we doing with the money? Money is valueless if it's not well used. It's like a tool in the hand of a clever man and a weapon in the hand of an idiot. So why are we forgetting about our morals? And we are always pursuing money, wealth. That's the issue, and that's why we are not, the discipline is not there, and people are sure I can always buy my way if I have my money, and that's very true.
All right, so you mentioned while you were speaking about things that could actually hit our security system, because I was going to talk about the security architecture of the country. Yes. Aside the intelligence gathering, you spoke about ecological factors, how it should have helped them up north more than in the south. Now, how can they actually apply it a lot more better, given that we have seen a lot of instances where the people in these communities actually aid the perpetrators of evil? But how can the security actually rework this? Either it's the soldiers that we have, maybe it's the Air Force that will come in, the local vigilantes, the Hadinkai, amongst others, who can actually do something. How do they actually work with these ecological factors to maybe get the system better up north?
Yes, in a system we operate, there are some tribes that they don't mix with their host. And criminal can sneak and go and hide there. We have no access to that environment. If you go there, it's very volatile. 2, the man or the security man, we need basic security operatives. They may not be uniform, but they must be sincere and committed to security of the nation. They go about sniffing. You don't go about with military uniform or police uniform, I think you can get any good information. In fact, if you go on an arrest and you're in uniform, immediately you say, do you know Mr. Azay? They say, no, I don't know. I've just back to this area.
So are you saying the people do not have trust in our security structure system?
Yes, even ourselves. We are scared to tell the truth. We are scared. Because you'll be discouraged if you are asked, come tomorrow by 10 o'clock. When you have your job to do, you have given an information and it has been substantiated. Then you are asked to leave your job and come the second day by 10 or 11 o'clock. Nobody will go there to give you. That's the best you can give. You have given a hint. If they like, they work on it. If they like, they reject it. Which are majority of occasions, they will throw it to the dustbin. They will not follow it. There's no way you can make a protest on security issues. The answer they give you is you are ignorant. You don't know what the process. It's not very instantaneous and cannot be so effective immediately. If our people, we are committed. Our police, the soldiers, they are Nigerians. They are not from America. So why are we expecting miracle? We cannot. But in the olden days, we used to have people, they call them CID, criminal investigation. They might even be a farmer for so many years in the village, investigating cases of a murder or manslaughter. Eventually, when they get who is involved, they go back, they will not even know. They come back.
So does it mean our security apparatus also are not getting their tactics right?
Money has spoiled everything.
All right, we have a commercial break, and when we return, we'll continue on that note. Please stay with us.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Supermalt Multivitamin Junior. Supermalt Multivitamin Junior. Being mommy simplified.
All right, thank you very much for sticking around with us. We're still in the conversations around Borno abductions. 102 days, 78 people still missing. I will still have Mr. Ademola, a public affairs analyst right here with us. And Fumbi, you are onto something with him.
Before we went on that break, we're talking about Mr. Ademola. You mentioned the tactics of security operatives are not really how it should be. Making reference to CID in the past and, how people get information, but that's not what we are seeing today. Are we saying their structure is faulty also, or the way their tactics is not just right?
These are wonderful and fantastic people doing the job of like solving mathematics from unknown to known. It's a difficult job they are doing. And until maybe sometimes you get involved with police, you know the value. I will not write them off. What they have at hand is the best they are using. In the old days, it's not a story. They are given allowances for petrol, for entertainment, for investigation, for compensation. When you give them information, they are able to resolve it. They call you back and they secretly give you something to appreciate what you have done. I don't know whether the system is the same now. People are even scared to be involved with a security member because they know, except you get to court, and you don't want to go to court. So the only thing they first to threaten us is that you'll be charged to court. Well, at times, people avoid going to court. And the only thing you can do is to settle. It's part of making security lacking. The behavior of people on the street, not within their confine. You see, there's no aspect, there's no atom of discipline and security. On the street, and if somebody can sit down on the main street for five minutes, we shall be avoiding him. Nobody will ask, why are you disturbing us? Why are you on the street sitting down? Because the conclusion is that I'm not disturbed. So, but when there's an after effect, we start complaining, we start blaming. What effort have we made collectively to solve our own problem?
And how can we begin to make those efforts? What should the people do in collaboration with the local government, security operatives, and of course, community members? How should we make sure we are coming together, creating or making that collaboration for a better society in terms of security?
Well, at the local level, I have a little knowledge that there is an existing structure on cooperation at the lowest level. Landlord and Tenants Association, Community Relation Committee, even Police Public Relation Committee. You can go in there as a member and make little contribution and give information of what is happening in your area. The DPO may not know initially, but if you go to a meeting and you review it, they used to take action. And criminals are scared. I always tell people, do you want to befriend police or you want to befriend a criminal? Choose one. And there's no reasonable man that will befriend a criminal. It's better to befriend police than to befriend a criminal. And at a higher level, you have the local government. If you are bold enough and you have the time, you can go to your local government chairman or your councillor to make a complaint. And if you have time, you can also write. But do we have the time? The telephone number of our DPO, is it accessible to us? Do we even know who our DPO is? Eventually, we may not know because they change them every 6 or 3 months. So who has the time to be changing telephone numbers every time? So this is part of what is hindering this security. And it's better for criminals. They are creating an environment for them to operate easily. And even criminals, police know them, I can assure you. So that makes their job easier. Because if there's a crime or violence in one area, they know who to call or who to arrest. They are called suspects.
All right. As we begin to wind down this segment this morning, for people in Borno State and those volatile, let's say the north now, and looking at the north central also, especially what happened in Niger State, 43 people killed and a lot of people were also abducted. We have over 70 people also abducted in Borno schools. We talk about Plateau State also, and it keeps going on and on and on. Now, how should the people in this community going forward protect themselves?
Yes. The different location, different problem, and different solutions. The problem in Niger State that they are mining, and the miners there, they are protecting their own interests. And the only thing they can do is to scare away people around them so that their job can be easier. They are making a lot of money, and nobody wants to find time to go and mix with them or send somebody to be a detective to go and investigate. Who are these people? What is the purpose? Why do they have the ammunition, the guns, and the bullets they are using? They are major. It's a great investment. I don't know how much a short machine gun will cost now. An average man cannot afford it. There must be rich people underneath. And I think in Niger State, if they are really committed to, they should shut down all the mining stations and be prepared to face the consequences because these people will fight back. With Plateau, it's both tribal, religious, and land grabbing issue. those three things interwoven. And except government closes they turn blind eye. Whoever is found guilty is dealt with. You cannot drive me away from my land of inheritance. We have been farming because you want to rear cow. An average man will resist, and there will be violence. That's the way I see it.
And what about Borno State?
Yes, Borno State. Down south, we have one advantage. Almost all the newspapers in this country, 97% down south. All the radio stations in this country, almost 99% down south. Almost all journalists, well-known journalists, internationally, they are almost southerners. It was our shouting, our show of concern that made the presidency to hear our voice. And that's why he was able to take action. If we keep quiet, like they have been keeping quiet, they think it's a normal thing. But when people are not aggressive, you have to be aggressive to take your right back sometimes. I don't say destructive. If they have been quiet, the Sambisa issue, they have forgotten about them. It's over almost 18 years now. What is happening? What are we doing? Are they buried? Is this issue not to be touched again? Why are the people behaving such a way? Who are these people? There is a grassland, our security agents have been very careful because you cannot use sledgehammer to kill a fly. They don't want to destroy lives. If not, they cannot match our security men. They cannot. They are untrained. I don't know how they come about having guns. They are not trained. You can't compare them to an average policeman or soldier or Air Force. But they are so confident because government has been watching them.
Okay. On a final note now, as we wrap up this morning, I would like you to speak about the trauma that has been faced by these children, the ones that have been rescued, the families, and other children around them who are maybe their colleagues or just growing up and they see situations like this. Let's speak to the psychology of that and how we can help them get better so that the society gets better.
The issue is the nearest to us, and it gave all parents sleepless nights. Some people were even sick when they watched the films. That's why we appreciate what banditry and kidnapping is up. It looks as an illusion. Look, if you are watching film, if you see it happen in other states, you are not touched. Now we are touched. I cannot imagine a 2-year-old or 4-year-old boy being held in captive for over 70 days. It must have touched his psyche. Everything scares him. He does not know. I have lived a different world for so long. And the psychiatrists need to be very, very close to them to see how they are now behaving and what is their situation. They should not neglect them. Money cannot solve that issue. They should be brought back to life. The people in the bush, maybe they are used to living in the bush or rather in the forest. It might not be too scary. A teacher captured and killed. Nobody wants to go to the village to go and teach again. Somebody has to come out to give us comfort and the strength that security has been briefed of, and we can see the evidence. If you don't see the evidence, it might be very difficult. And nobody can enforce transferring somebody to a boundary between the Niger State and Oyo State or Kwara State. It's difficult. Even as at now, what has happened? If not for religious reasons that people are giving some sort of enforcement, trust that God will do it. Well, God is the ultimate, but God help those who help themselves. We have to help ourselves first before we ask for the help of God. That's the way I see it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ademola Adebola, a public affairs analyst who has joined us in the conversation this morning about the Borno abductions. Yes, we have counted down to 102 days. At the last official count, it was 78 pupils who are still missing. I want to say a big thank you on behalf of the entire production crew of AM120.
You are most welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, from here now to the sports segment, where Victor Ajewale is waiting patiently to give us news from the ever exciting world of sports.